Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It feels like an awfully long time when it's 2 weeks between each lesson, but it has only been 2 weeks. The time has flown, and you can see behind me that the plant is growing out of control. I've been up to quite a lot these last few weeks, and I've got a lot on this weekend as well. What are you guys up to? Anything exciting? Anything fun on the cards? Well, we do have something exciting today. What we have is our lesson. Woo! I can hear you all cheering from the sidelines there. Oh, it's the lesson today. I've been waiting all week for this. Um, and today's lesson is all about SDG number 6, which is clean water and sanitation. But before we get started on that, if you need the worksheet, it's complete. It's all available in the description below. Give it a click. You can get in there and have a read and join in with the lesson. In the meantime, let's check out a quote. Water is life, and clean water means health. Water is life, and clean water means health. What do you think Audrey Hepburn meant by that? I mean, it's pretty clear. Everybody needs water, and clean water means everybody will be healthy. So, how's about we try and get clean water everywhere? I think that's the idea of the SDG, clean water and sanitation. We're going to have a quick look at how we're going to achieve that and how it's going at the moment. Before so, let's have a look at some of the words we're going to come across today, particularly in our interview with our amazing expert, Rituraj Fukan, who is a wonderful human being, and he's just got back from COP as well. Great to have him on. I've spoken to him in the past before on another project, and it's just super exciting to have him in. Always a wonderful person to speak to. So the first one there, of course, we'll start with contamination. Contamination is to make something impure by contact with something unclean. So water contamination is quite a big thing. Water contamination is a very big thing. Think about the fashion industry. They contaminate a lot of water with dyes and so on and so forth. But you also have to think about other areas where water can be contaminated and how that can get into our drinking water, into our water system. A drought? Any idea what a drought might be? It's a long period of time without rain when everything gets very dry. In South Africa at the moment, they're experiencing some very serious droughts. And I think this is often the immediate thought that people have when we think about clean water and sanitation. It's always the first thought goes to a lack of water. I know that's my immediate thought, goes to a lack of water, but it is, of course, also other things as well, that the water there is contaminated, and also an abundance of water. So a flood, a large amount of water, a large amount of rain causing an excess of water. So a flood when there's too much water. I remember that there were great floods in Northampton, where I'm from, a few years back, or quite a few years back now, to be honest. And I remember that being one of the early signs for me that the climate was a-changing, that we could have those floods there. But it was also the floods over in Bangladesh in 1991 that really woke me up to the idea of a climate refugee, I guess. The fact that somebody could be displaced from where they live because of weather, because of the climate. And that was 30 years ago. And then we saw, obviously, this summer, there were floods throughout Belgium, Germany, and so on. So it's something that's becoming more and more common. So the SDGs, if you didn't know, are a set of goals that were agreed upon in 2015, so 6 years ago, as a target for 2030 to end a number of different things and to save a lot of other things. We recently saw at COP a bit of a cop out on climate action, that's for sure. Nowhere near enough strong policy coming through, but then other people saying, oh, but it's a step in the right direction. Well, that step should have been taken 25 years ago at the first COP, or 26 years ago. Maybe not now. But let's not get into that right now. We've already done the first 5. If you haven't seen the first 5 lessons, please do feel free to jump back and check them out. All sorts of interviews and top tips through those. Today is number 6, and it's clean water and sanitation. So let's have a quick look at the different goals. Let me just get rid of that there, and we can have a look now. So the first one is safe and affordable drinking water. Safe and affordable drinking water. This is for everybody. For everybody. Now you have to bear in mind when we get to our Unfun Facts soon, you'll see that safe and affordable drinking water for everybody, it's quite difficult. There are places that I do condone bottled water, obviously, with relief missions and stuff like that. There are times when bottled water is absolutely necessary. But that phrase of affordable water is one that really sticks with me. Water should be a basic human right, in my opinion. So affordable drinking water seems very strange. I think free drinking water is really what we should be aiming for. Target 2, to end open defecation and provide area access to sanitation and hygiene. So this is basically making sure that there are functioning toilets everywhere and places for people to go to the toilet. In the global north, we really do take this for granted. We really do think, we go to the toilet, we flush the toilet, we don't even think about where it goes or what happens then. I was speaking to Ellen Evans of STEM Ginger Education recently, and she told me about a school she's been working with in Tanzania who recently got their first tap. Their first tap. Now, if that's the first step, think about the sanitation there, and the UN are talking about in the next 9 years to have everybody in the world with sanitation. Well, it's certainly a difficult goal to achieve. I'd like to see how close we are in another couple of years. Improve water quality, wastewater treatment, and safe reuse. Well, anybody who's in the UK right now, MPs have just voted to be able to dump raw sewage basically wherever they want. One of the other benefits of leaving the EU, but again, let's not get onto that one, Harry. It's a rabbit hole you might not come out the other end of. So to make sure water quality has improved, now you also have to bear in mind that there are microplastics in most of your drinking water. It's so prevalent that it is absolutely everywhere. So clean water, again, this is for everybody. This is not just for the global south, this is for everybody. To increase water use efficiency and ensure fresh water supplies. Now, this is to stop wasted water, basically. There is an awful lot of water that's wasted with leakage and stuff like that. And there is a water crisis on the horizon. So that's something that we do need to consider and pay a lot of attention to. The next one is to implement integrated water resource management. So these are all the different areas of making sure that water is used properly. There should be quite a lot of this in place already. So it's how it is used and where it is used. And the last one, I think, one of the perhaps easiest to do, to protect and restore water-related ecosystems. So a great way to start this would be to turn off the tap on single-use plastics. Another good way would be to stop dumping raw sewage into our oceans and rivers. and another one is to cut back on overfishing and trawler fishing and things like that. They're just three simple steps that we could take. But of course, we're not the decision makers. We need to ask certain other people to make laws on those. We know how happy they are to trouble the big companies out there, don't we? So we wouldn't want that to be a difficult decision for any politicians, would we? So what we can do is cut back on those things ourselves, and turn up our own volume. Shout a bit louder and talk about what we want to make a difference with. Now, today's Unfun Facts. Frank was a bit chilly earlier today. The sun didn't reach the window. He was a bit chilly, so he got nice and wrapped up for today's Unfun Facts. So I'm going to jump over to Frank. There were so many for him to choose from. He decided to focus mostly on the drinking water. So let's check him out now.
Hello everybody, it's very cold here today. It's hit the icy cold depths of 14 degrees. Brr. That's why I'm wrapped up nice and warm to bring you the unfun facts about clean water and sanitation. The first one, 844 million people do not have access to clean drinking water. And because of that, around 840,000 people die every year because they don't have clean drinking water. 1.8 billion people use drinking water that has been polluted with human waste. It's just terrible. And the funding must triple if we're going to get anywhere near the goals from SDG 6. And this is just for areas that struggle with water. If we look at our own water supply, we'll find microplastics and all sorts of other horrible things. So that was Unfun Facts for today. I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.
There we go. There was Unfun Frank. I was sitting there waiting for him to finish his chat there, as you saw me blindly staring at the screen. That was Unfun Frank. Thank you very much, Frank. As always, always a pleasure. Very occasionally a chore. So let's check out his Unfun Facts, and you can tell me if they're true or false. You can write it on your worksheet. I'm doing that, but obviously you've got a digital worksheet because you don't want to waste paper. Or, of course, you can just chuck it in the chat box, or if you're watching back, do feel free to put it in the comments below. So fact number one, is it true or false that more than 800 million people don't have access to clean water? More than 800 million people don't have access to clean water. Is it true or false? Feel free to put it in the chat. Those of you watching live, don't be shy. I know there's a few of you. I can see the metrics. But it's only a few. Call your friends. Tell them to jump online. So, more than 800 million. Yes, there are. It's true. There are more than 800 million people who don't have access to clean drinking water. There are, in fact, 844 million, apparently. So it could easily be considerably more, because everybody is saying everything about the COVID pandemic has put all of the SDGs back a few years. So we know that in 2030, when the excuses are being rolled out for not achieving the goals, we know that COVID's going to be there to be blamed. Fact number two. Nobody in the world has to drink water containing human waste. Nobody in the world has to drink water containing human waste. Nobody in the world should have to drink water containing human waste. That's what I'm absolutely sure of. But is it true or is it false? It is, I'm afraid, false. 1.8 billion people in the world have water containing human waste. Now, that's something that needs to be dealt with, and that's something that needs to be cleaned. to make sure you don't, I mean, you could get a water filter just in case. But the amount of chemicals that go into the global north water to clean it and sterilize it, it's probably okay. You might want to filter just for those chemicals. And the third fact here, we will easily reach the targets if we continue with current funding. We will easily reach the targets if we continue with the current funding. What do you think? Are we going to easily reach the targets? I can hear my dog outside. She thinks it's nonsense. She's running up and down. I'm pretty sure that's dog talk for no. We're going to need to at least triple the funding. I've got an idea. Why don't we? Now, this might be a brave idea, this might be a crazy one. Hear me out. Why don't we reduce the subsidies for fossil fuels, which are obscene, and put some of that money into this? Smart idea? Maybe. I recently saw Elon Musk challenging the UN, asking what they could do to with his money to end world hunger, and they came up with a detailed plan of $6.6 billion of what they could do with it. Well, I think what they should also look at is the amount of money that's still being subsidised into fossil fuels, and look at what they could do with that to end world hunger. I mean, as well as Elon Musk's billions, that would be nice if he would donate some of those. Don't get me wrong. Also, Elon, if you're watching, I'm sure you are, I've got a great challenge coming up and I'm going to need an electric car. So if you want to lend me one, you know where to find me. At Renewable English on all the socials. So, we're going to watch a video with Rituraj Fukan. He's, well, I'm not going to tell you about him because you're going to learn about him. The full interview is on our YouTube channel. Please do go there and check it out. You can see I've made a spelling mistake there. So I'm going to jump right in and correct it because nobody likes to see spelling mistakes from an English teacher. I posted on a fellow English teacher's Instagram yesterday and it was awful. It was awful. I don't know what I was doing. The spelling mistakes, the punctuation, it was terrible. There were a plethora of errors. A lot of mistakes. So on your worksheet, in the chat box or wherever you want to put it, what is SDG 6? Where does Rituraj Fukan live? What are the 3 W's? The 3 W's are... what are the problems in Raj's area? And how much of India's water is lost to leakage? I'm going to flick over to the video now. It's about 3 minutes, so stay tuned till the end. We'll be coming back afterwards with the answers. So here we go. Over to you, Raj, and the other day, Harry. Welcome to SDG 6 on Renewable English, Clean Water and Sanitation. Today, I've got one of my personal heroes, somebody I've interviewed before, and I'm so excited to interview again. But I'm not going to tell you all about him. I'm going to let him tell you all about himself. So, Raj, tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Harry. It's wonderful to be back here on Renewable English. So my name is Rituraj Fukan, and in short, Raj, and I live in Assam, which is a early climatic vector region, biodiversity-rich area in the northeastern part of India. I work on the three interconnected areas of warming, water, and wildlife, and I call them the three W's. And trying to create awareness and action among people who really take care of these at the grassroots. So that is what I do. And I have been working on some of the most critical issues involving wildlife and water around India.
So what are these different areas that we have with problems with water?
Just to take the example of India, large parts of the Deccan Plateau, central India, and even some parts in North India are facing a continuous water crisis. There has been a change in precipitation patterns. There has been unseasonal and sudden rainfall. There has been a drought which has extended for years now in some parts. For coastal communities, there is water surge from storms during, uh, you know, in the vulnerable months of the year. Whereas in my area, which is more like a water abundant part of India, we have floods and then erosion and loss of lives and livelihoods. So these different issues are there around the country. Then there are other related issues like water being contaminated. Uh, there are arsenic and other contaminants found in the water, which is causing health hazards. Uh, so these are all current impacts.
So the big question on everybody's lips is, what can we do to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goal number 6?
So, number one, we have to somehow ensure this warming is arrested, this warming is stopped, and this glacial loss is prevented. Then there is also the big issue of water loss due to leakage and dripping, which by our own estimates is about 40% of all supplied water in India. If we just ensure that all this faulty pipelines and other taps are all repaired and replaced. And thirdly, I think universal safe water access to be prioritized across the country. And to make water available to all, I think the biggest potential that exists today and which has not been utilized at all is rainwater harvesting.
Okay, thank you so much, Raj.
Thank you, Harry, and all the best with all that you do with Renewable English.
So there we go. Let's check out these answers. What is SDG 6? Oh, look at that. It's a fancy drum roll. Definitely not me just tapping my fingers on the table. It is clean water and sanitation. Rituraj Fukan lives in Assam in India. The 3 W's: warming, water, and wildlife, of course. Warming, water, and wildlife. The problems in his area. Any ideas? Do you remember? Anyone remember? Floods, erosion, loss of life, and livelihood. Oh, you can just see I've got a guest has joined us here. My dog Estrella, from outside barking, has returned, and she's now up here, just next to me there, taking a starring role as always. She just has to be on camera. And the last one, how much of India's water is lost to leakage? Can anyone remember? It was 40%. It was 40% of their water is lost to leakage, which is the same percentage that the USA loses to food waste in the supermarkets, which is a strange coincidence. So he talked about fixing that and also using rainwater capture to try and increase the amount of water that people have available to them and to prevent water wars. Now, if I were you, I would check out the full interview. He goes a lot deeper into those issues. It's about a 15-minute interview, so you will learn an awful lot more about it. Check it out on the channel. It is everybody's favourite time now. I think the only reason anybody comes along, to be honest, and they can check these out on, I think what I might do is stop posting these on Instagram and start only showing them here and then posting them later on Instagram. That way maybe a few more people will stick around for the end of the show. It's Ali's top tips. They're coming up now. And here are her ideas to save water, for clean water and for sanitation.
Welcome to Ali's Top Tips. Think second hand, brand new, uses lots of water and pollutes it of a beach or river cleanup. Donate to a charity like water.org. Stop drinking bottled water. As always, raise awareness and spread the word. Hey Estrella, turn off the tap while you're brushing your teeth. Thanks for watching. Bye.
So there were Ali's top tips. Do you have any of your own? Please do feel free to jump on the socials, give us a shout. And what do you think? Would you like to, share them with us? Tell us about your ideas. Tell us about what you'd like to share with us in that regard. Your top tips, your ideas for clean water and sanitation. Oh, jumped the gun a little bit there, didn't I? Little bit too fast. So do please get across to check us out on social media. Feel free to drop us drop us a line, say hello. Feel free to give us a quick donation if you so desire. Go to coffee.com and you can coffee.com/renewable English. So I'm trying to find where I've put all these links. I was sure I had them ready to just pop up on the screen, but it turns out I was not prepared for that because I've moved them to a different folder, haven't I? Good job there. So coffee.com, ko-fi.com/renewable English. Feel free to give us a coffee, would be lovely. Let's keep this as free as possible. And that's it. What's your water promise? My water promise is to harvest as much rainwater as possible. My water promise is to not buy a new pair of jeans ever again. Keep on repairing and keep sewing. And that's my water promise for now. Please do get in touch. Tell us what yours are. Time to say goodbye.